this Jordan Peterson video come up. I want to start doing more Jordan Peterson. I've seen like the pay. I don't know, watch his debates with people and that. I've like found some like lectures or things like this that I want to do, which I haven't seen. There's actually loads of him. There's loads of stuff to look up from Jordan Peterson. It's like not just him arguing with people on news shows or whatever, but yeah, this one come up. Jordan Peterson, my daughter ended her life. So let's see what this is saying. Let's go.
Our daughter ended her life at 24 due to depression. If someone is determined to end their life, how can one change their mind? Oh, well, first of all, I'm very sorry about that. That's a terrible thing. Look, I had this friend, sorry. There's been a lot of depression in our family, so it's a question that cuts close to the bone. Anyways, I had this friend, a friend of my parents, and her granddaughter committed suicide, She was just beating herself up about that. What could have I done? What could have I done differently? This is the problem with suicide. It leaves everybody behind thinking, oh my God, what could have I done? I could have treated the person better. I could have listened. I could have been there. It's like, and she was just beating herself up about this, really feeling that she wasn't a useful person, that she'd failed as a grandmother. She's a really good person, And so I went for a walk with her, and I said, and she's married, and she likes her husband, and he's a really good guy. And I said, look, you're blaming yourself for your granddaughter's suicide. It's like, are you blaming your husband? Are you sitting him down and telling him what a useless bastard he was as a grandfather because his granddaughter committed suicide and how he failed completely? She said, no, I'd never do that. So I said, well, don't do it to yourself. No. Depression is a terrible thing. And many, many, many things cause it, and we don't understand. We understand some of them, but lots of them we don't understand at all. Sometimes people get depressed because they're really sick. We know that depression can be an inflammatory disease. It might be associated with autoimmune dysfunction. There's lots of reasons that people get depressed, and depressed people can go places that are so dark you just cannot imagine it. And it isn't necessarily the case that you can always rescue someone, but drowning yourself in the aftermath of a suicide is not helpful. So there's a good room for self-forgiveness there, maybe you did some things you shouldn't have done that were reprehensible and all of that, but you don't want to beat yourself up. Remember the presumption of innocence, right? Innocent until proven guilty. And you have to apply that to yourself. I think there are times when people are so depressed that there isn't anything that anyone can do. And the depressed person thinks, and this is probably the worst part of it, the depressed person thinks, everywhere I look, it's nothing but catastrophe. And I can't see any way out of it. I can't see any path forward whatsoever. And then they think as well, and maybe it's the combination of these two thoughts that really make people suicidal. It's like, it's hopeless. It isn't going to get any better. No matter where I turn, there's no escape. The suffering is unbearable. And I'm absolutely no use whatsoever to anyone. It would be better for everyone if I was just gone, because if I'm not so much of a burden now that it's going to destroy their life, then I'm going to be that much of a burden in the future. And so it's hard to imagine what that's like for people, but it's dreadful. And there's lots of ways you get there. And so you can listen to people. You can desperately encourage them to seek the help they need. Like I've seen antidepressants work miracles on very, very many people. Now, they don't work for everyone, and they're not a panacea, but they have side effects and all of that, but one of the side effects of untreated depression is that you kill yourself, and there is no recovery from that, and the probability is actually rather high. So you can go to war with them about antidepressants. If the person can't get out of their depression and they're suicidal, it's like, what do they have to lose? 1 month on antidepressants. They'll know. Well, they might have to experiment longer, because it would depend on, some people respond better to some classes of antidepressants than the others. It's worth having a war with someone if they're in dire straits and they won't do everything they can to get better. ECT works, electroconvulsive therapy works for intractable depression. It's a terrible thing to contemplate, but the modern versions of ECT aren't. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. And again, it's like there's no coming back from death. So, look, it isn't clear. You can't rescue everyone. People get sick and they die. And sometimes the way they die looks like it's depression. Depression is a multifaceted phenomena. You can be there for them. You can listen. You can watch. You can intervene. You can try to understand. You can hold them accountable. You can do all of those things. But everyone has their own destiny, and you're not omnipotent. And so sometimes a catastrophe occurs, like your daughter's. And then you should try to drag the least amount of misery forward that you can. Once you recover from your grief. Yeah.
Jesus, you see that really did hit him. And I think that was a great quote that he said to that woman. That would you beat your husband up about it? Would you say he's a bad grandparent or whatever? No, well, don't do it to yourself. That's a heavy line. Like, that's very, very deep and very great point. Yeah. That was heavy. I mean, I should have guessed. But I also think it's good to, yeah. And I think he's right as well. I've seen him talk about that before. Where he talks about people going on antidepressants, people not wanting to, and the stigma that's attached to them. He said, but if you're diabetic, what are you going to do? Not take your medication? If you're depressed, you might just need that. It's like he said, the side effect of depression is death. If you don't deal with it, you are going to die. Either by killing yourself or, yeah, being so reckless in your life that you would just have a death wish. Or drug yourself. But either way, it's not going to be good. And it is. Put up with all of that just over not taking a tablet. Yeah, I think it's crazy. But I also do understand that, because it's a hard thing in itself to admit, because if you are someone who's been depressed, it's kind of the thought of even going on medication makes you feel even worse about yourself, because you think you can't even just deal with things that other people can. The thought of even going on that in itself is a depressing thought. That you would even need that just to be you. And that's what I think it is that people, they don't want to admit it to themselves. But that was deep. And you could see it, you could see just that he cares. Like, you could see instantly it hit him. Like, he just instantly, but I suppose that's why he went into the line of work he did. Into fucking, psychology and all that. Because, yeah, very interesting man. And for the monster that they paint him out to be, it's disgusting, really. This is your monster. This is the monster that you guys are all fucking scared of. But anyway, that's what another thing, yeah. I've seen more compassion in this 6-minute video than I've seen from any left-wing protester that just goes on telling people there's some kind of an ist or trying to ban people. There's no compassion in them people. There's no care. There's only power. That's all them people are. They're hiding their fucking power first. The people that are going after him are just power hungry, and they are hiding behind that they actually care when he actually cares. He's someone that, if you're depressed and suffer with anxiety, he's someone you should listen to. Not these fucking idiots dyeing their hair pink and fucking whatever the fuck they're doing now. Walking around with fucking pussies on their head and thinking how somehow that's a victory for women. This is who you want to listen to, a man like this. Literally. Show me a left wing, far left person who is the type of person who's going after him. Show me a video of them where they show anywhere near the true compassion and the fact that they're not just saying key things to get brownie points from their little mates. When have you ever seen them cry over? When have you ever seen one of them little white liberals cry over? Actually cry over a black person getting killed in the street, or a gay person not being allowed to get married, or a transgender not being able to have a sex change at 8. When have you ever seen them actually cry? They don't give a fuck. You lot just being, you trans people, black people, and women, all of them, you're being used. You're a shield. You're a shield from the evil shit that they're doing. But everyone knows it now. This is the thing. I mean, I'm not telling you anything now that you don't know. There's very few people in all of them camps. In all of the camps that was once really left wing. People are leaving. And you're seeing it everywhere. In every demographic, people are turning against this left shit. And it's like when there's videos like this of this man and you're running around attacking him, it's like, shame on you. But anyway, yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.